The night I realized something had been following me, it was already too late. Even now, years later, my hands shake when I remember how close I came to never being found. Because what I heard that night was wearing my sister's voice, and it knew my name. I've carried this story inside me for years, because no matter how many times I replay it in my head, there's no explanation that makes sense. Every time I think about it, I feel that same cold fear in my chest, like I'm still that scared kid hiding in the grass, waiting for something to grab me. This happened when I was about 8 years old, during a Christmas visit to my grandparents' house, a place we'd gone to many times before, and one that always felt quiet and safe, until that night. My grandparents lived far away from town, surrounded by massive open fields of land, most of it owned by my grandfather or nearby farmers. There was nothing around for miles, no parks, no neighbors, no streetlights, just land and wind and silence. As kids, we usually got bored there and made our own games, running through tall grass, climbing on the old tractor, and playing hide and seek until we were exhausted. That evening, after dinner, we begged our grandmother to let us go back outside. She agreed, but warned us not to go too far into the fields. "If you do," she said, "stay put so I can find you." We promised and ran out, laughing as the sun disappeared and the cold air settled in. We started playing hide and seek like we always did, and at first, everything felt normal. Just the sound of my siblings running and laughing, and the grass brushing against my legs. At some point, while hiding, I realized the sounds around me had changed. I could no longer hear footsteps or voices, and the wind felt louder than before. When I stood up and tried to figure out where I was, I felt my stomach drop, because I could tell I'd gone too deep into the field. I could barely make out the direction of my grandparents' house, far to my left, and I knew I was at least 2 full fields away from where we'd started. I was scared, but I remembered what my grandmother said, so I stayed where I was, afraid that moving would only make things worse. I tried calling out, but my voice felt small and lost in the open space. After a while, I heard footsteps coming from my right, moving fast through the grass, and then I heard my name. It was my older sister calling me, in the exact same tone she always used when she was annoyed with me. Relief washed over me instantly, because I thought she'd found me. I called back and started moving toward her voice, even though it was pulling me farther away from the house. I couldn't see her through the grass, but I could hear her clearly, and that was enough for my child brain. I followed that voice for what felt like a long time, and every time I thought I was getting closer, it sounded farther away. My legs started to ache, and my chest felt tight, but I kept going, because I trusted that voice. Then I saw a tree in the distance, and everything inside me froze. I recognized that tree because it stood on land owned by another farmer, and we were strictly forbidden from ever crossing into that area. My sister would never have gone there. She followed rules almost obsessively, and the realization hit me all at once. Whatever I was following was not her. Fear unlike anything I'd ever felt flooded my body, and I turned around and ran as fast as I could in the direction I thought I'd come from. As I ran, I could hear movement behind me, and then I heard my name again. But this time, it sounded wrong. The voice was deeper and broken, with strange sounds mixed in, like grunts and choking noises between words. It felt like it was struggling to sound human. I didn't look back. I ran until my legs gave out, and I collapsed into the grass, shaking and sobbing. I could still hear rustling nearby, so I curled up as small as I could and stayed completely still, barely breathing. Eventually, an elderly couple found me hidden in the field after hearing my crying. They took me into their house and called my parents. When my parents arrived, they were frantic. They'd been searching for hours and were close to calling the police. My siblings had gone back inside shortly after playing, and everyone assumed I was with them. What felt like maybe half an hour to me turned out to be over 3 hours. And somehow, I'd walked more than 8 miles without realizing it. Since that night, I've never gone back into those fields. Even now, when I visit my grandparents, I stay close to the house. I don't know what followed me that night, or how I knew my sister's voice, but I know one thing for sure: something was out there, and if I'd followed it any farther, I don't think I'd be here telling this story today.